Good afternoon. Welcome to this regular meeting of Smith Falls Town Council for Monday, September 21st. We're going to start the meeting off by recognizing Big Brothers Big Sisters, September 2020 Big Brothers Big Sisters month. We're going to have Sandra Borelli here in a moment to talk a little bit more about the great things that Big Brothers Big Sisters does. But first I want to read a proclamation as we do every year to celebrate Big Brothers Big Sisters and the work they do in our community. The Big Brothers Big Sisters Month, September 2020. Whereas Big Brothers Big Sisters of Lanark County is an important community organization committed to helping children and youth reach their full potential by matching them with caring volunteer mentors. And whereas evidence-based research has shown that for every dollar invested in Big Brothers Big Sisters mentoring, society gets a return of $23. In addition, youth who have a big brother or big sister are less likely to bully or be bullied, feel better about school, and are more likely to have a healthy and positive outlook on life well into adulthood. Whereas we believe that by changing the course of young lives, we can in turn be changing the course of the community's future. That could lead to a reduction in poverty and unemployment, to safer schools and neighborhoods, or to renewed optimism for growth. And whereas Big Brothers Big Sisters of Lanark County relies heavily on the strength and dedication of its volunteers who, through their commitment and support, make a profound difference in the lives of children and youth in our community. Whereas the agency's goal is to expand its recruitment drive in order to serve more children and youth in our community. Now, therefore, I, Sean Panko, Mayor of Smith Falls, do hereby proclaim September 2020 as Big Brothers Big Sister Month. I encourage everyone to volunteer or donate by visiting https://lanark.bigbrothersbigsisters.ca and learn more about how you can get involved in giving young people the confidence to achieve more. And you may notice that many or all of us have purple on in some way, and that is to honor Big Brothers Big Sisters Month. I see Councillor McKenna even has something purple behind him to make sure it's well seen. So thank you, Peter. Before I move on to other parts of our agenda, I just want to make one announcement. And again, that just is a regular reminder of the need to remain vigilant during this pandemic. We see cases rising in Canada, Ontario, and the broader region. Daily case counts have yet to reach the peak we saw in April, but they are where they were in late May. Significant increase in demand for testing at all sites, including here. And that results in delays in people getting the test, a delay in getting a response to schedule a test, and of course, a delay in receiving results. And we know that the back to school is creating challenges that didn't exist prior to back to school. So it's important, of course, that we all continue to follow public health protocols, washing our hands, physical distancing, wearing a mask, really all just common concern and respect for other people, common courtesy and respect for other people. And when we think about it, with a case count per million of population that is less than 20% of the case count per million in the US, and a death rate which is only about 40% of the US death rate, I think it's safe to say that the strong public health measures and good Canadian compliance is really making a significant difference in reducing both the infection rate and the death rate here and across Canada. So just a reminder to remain vigilant, do our best to keep our communities and our families safe. So our emergency control group was not scheduled to meet this week, but we are meeting tomorrow primarily to discuss the ruling on the weekend by the Premier of limiting gatherings to 10 indoors, 25 outdoors. And we want to make sure that we fully understand that so that we're prepared to help guide our community and to ensure that measures are in place and try to make sure that people don't inadvertently walk themselves into a $10,000 fine or a $750 fine per individual for gathering inappropriately. So we need to determine how this affects our community, and we will meet tomorrow to discuss that. We'll have further feedback subsequent to that. I will ask for disclosure of monetary interest. I don't have any. So I'd like to welcome Sandra Borelli, Executive Director for Big Brothers Big Sisters, Lanark County. Sandra's going to talk to us about some of the great things that the Big Brothers Big Sisters is doing, and we look forward to your insights and your report, Sandra. It's all yours.
Thank you, Mayor Pankow. I want to thank everybody for having us here tonight. It's nice to be a part of this meeting. I am the not so new executive director of Big Brothers Big Sisters. I started 6 weeks before the pandemic started, so I haven't had a chance to meet all of you yet. So we're grateful to at least put faces to all of the names. And the reason that we wanted to join you now in September is to just let you know a little bit more about Big Brothers Big Sisters Month. So basically, as a means of amplifying our voice across the country, all of the agencies across the country celebrate Big Brothers Big Sisters Month, and all the ways that mentoring supports youth. And in Canada, we're at 41,000 youth that we support. And our own agency has been supporting kids of Lanark County since 1973, as many of you already know. And during the pandemic, we've reoriented a lot of our programming to the virtual world. And we were able to even pivot some of our staff to assist with the emergency grocery delivery program in the town of Smiths Falls, which was an exciting project for our team to jump into. Recently, we even delivered 3 weeks of summer camp, which was also a lot of fun and full. So 33 children served there in summer camp, which is wonderful. And of course, all of our good traditional programs are being done virtually now. Some of our big brothers and big sisters actually have elected to actually make their bigs and littles a part of their limited bubble. So that speaks to me volumes of the need and how much the kids really want that connection in their lives. Big Brothers Big Sisters Month is also a way of continuing to recognize the importance of mentoring, especially now. And the little story that I want to give you with that is that I also had a child call me directly asking for a big. And when I spoke to my team, nobody remembered that ever happening before. Usually referrals are from schools or from parents. And so for me, that really spoke to the need as well, if the kids are reaching out to us directly. And it just gives a really bigger understanding of the scope of what we're dealing with. And so as Mayor Pankow mentioned, the return on investment in mentoring is 23 to 1. And so what that means is that for every dollar that we spend on mentoring, there's a $23 return to society in the form of contributions that the mentee will make in society if they have the right supports and the right opportunities, which is an amazing statistic to me. And as a part of our Big Brothers Big Sisters Month, to help us amplify our voice, the town of Smiths Falls is lighting up the water tower purple again this year, which is amazing. Thank you for that. And the reason for that is that we want people asking. We want people talking about why that's happening so that there's a conversation initiated about who we are, what we're doing, and what we need. And of course, right now, as we continue to support the constantly changing needs amid the parameters of COVID-19, I wanted to just bring some attention to, what we're working on right now is creating some alternative fundraising avenues. And what we need more than ever is more volunteers. We really want to reduce our wait list, and we want to do it quickly. These are kids that need it now, like I said, more than ever before. We need volunteers to serve the kids directly. We need volunteers in our Jewel stores, on our board, and a number of other ways. And so we encourage people to inquire as to the ways that they might be able to support us, because they are vast and varied. So at this time, we're asking for your support in spreading that, but also to bring your attention to the fact that for the first time ever, we are running an online 50-50 raffle, which is really a critical way for us to start to fundraise online. And so right now, as we speak, the current pot is $12,500. So we ask for your support in spreading the word on that one. If you go to our Facebook page, you'll see the link for the 50-50 raffle. It takes you right to the page where you can buy tickets, share it with your friends. You can hashtag it Big Brothers Big Sisters Month, hashtag it Bigger Together, and encourage people to jump in on the 50-50 lottery. That would be a great help for us. And that is about all that I wanted to share with you. You can also find all of those links on our website, of course, at lanark.bigbrothersbigsisters.ca. And obviously, I would be remiss if I didn't finally say that we're so grateful for all that the town is doing for us and has done for us in the past, and that you continue to do with the grants in 2020 or in 2019, 2020, and the support that we're able to provide with the kids. And also a heartfelt thank you, of course, for turning the water tower purple and getting people talking. So thanks, everyone.
Great, Sandra. Any questions or comments for Sandra? Yes, Peter?
I just want to say what a pleasure it was to work with you and your team, delivering groceries at the height of the pandemic and you lining up the volunteers. It was just terrific. We had wonderful people. I met some people in town and saw their living circumstances that even I was surprised at. So I can't thank you enough for stepping up and helping the community. We were serving a lot of elderly folks, but your volunteers did it with panache and pride, and I want to thank you for that.
Thank you very much, and thank you for thinking of us to be able to support the town in that way. That was a really easy pivot for us. All of our people are in social and community services, so for them to be able to jump into something like that was really rewarding and meaningful in terms of their ability to do something directly for this pandemic. So thank you for thinking of us.
Any further comments or questions? Yes, Councillor Dwyer.
Thanks, Sandra. Could you give just a little bit more detail for those who might be interested in participating in Big Brother, Big Sister? What's the time commitment look like for a BIG? And are there certain eligibility criteria in becoming a BIG?
Certainly. In becoming a traditional BIG, there is a pretty robust volunteer screening process, as you might imagine, being a child serving agency. So there is an application process, of course, involving a vulnerable sectors check and those kinds of things, and interview references. I feel like I'm forgetting a part of your question.
The time commitment.
Right, the time commitment, thank you. So there are a number of ways that you can be a mentor. In our traditional program, the ask is for 4 hours a week for your little. And then we have other programs, and I just want to throw that in there as well, because for those who don't have that kind of time, for instance, being what we call an in-school mentor, which this year will be a misnomer because it will be via Zoom, but that's a 1 hour commitment a week. And even at that, if it is online, we say up to an hour, but anything is better than nothing. So there's lots of opportunity to volunteer, whether you have half an hour or 4 hours to give.
That's great to know. Thanks, Sandra. I think a lot of people assume that the commitment is quite heavy, but have a willingness to participate. So to know that there's different opportunities for people who have different abilities and time to commit, it's good information to have, and we'll make sure to get that out to the public.
Thank you, Nikki. And that you asked that question, you brought my attention to the fact that people may not be aware of that. So now I feel a social media campaign coming on.
That's excellent. Thanks, Sandra.
Anything further? Jay?
Thanks, Sandra. And you're one of my favorite charities. How do I get a 50-50 ticket?
So if you go onto Facebook, go to Big Brothers, Big Sisters of Lanark County. That's our Facebook page. And you scroll down, we're repeating that post constantly. It won't be very far down. Or if you go to our website, I believe it is the second post on the homepage. Scroll down, click buy tickets, and away you go. Just a word to the wise, because our lottery license is for Ontario. If your device is registered in another province, you're going to have to change your settings to say you're in Ontario in order to buy tickets.
Okay, and the deadline is?
There is no deadline. So there is. However, we expect to continue to run the 50-50s all year and then some. So the current pot started last week, and it goes until October the 14th. And then a draw is made and a winner is announced. Then we're going to have a 2-week gap that was planned so that we can assess lessons learned and so that we can really understand what we need to do going forward. I should mention that this is an Ontario province-wide effort. So every agency in Ontario is contributing to this right now. And so then once we've done those lessons learned, we will launch again on November 1st and close the last day of November and start and keep going every month from beginning first day to last day of each month.
Awesome. Great idea to pivot. Mm-hmm. Good.
Yeah, thank you. And I also wanted to mention that given that, and I think that this is important, it's important to me and probably to you as residents of Lanark County, that the Ontario Coalition for this 50-50 draw found it to be very important that any money spent in the county stays in the county. So every link that you touch, when you go to our Facebook page or to our web page and you click on that link, those funds come to this county. because every URL is coded for the town in which is being supported.
That's great. Thank you. Well, Sandra, thank you very much for coming tonight and bringing an update to the community. And from our perspective, we have deep appreciation for the work that you do and the role Big Brothers Big Sisters plays in our community and helping develop our youth and give them much bigger, brighter futures. So I look forward to ongoing support, and I think we will all be going online tonight to buy our 50/50s. And anyway, look forward to seeing you again, and best of luck for the balance of the year.
Thank you, and thanks so much for having me once again. Have a great meeting.
Well, take care. Okay, moving on. We have no adoption of minutes. Reports. I will start with Councillor McGuire, please.
Thank you, Your Worship. We've got two subcommittees of the CIP going right now. One is to do the program review, and the other one is looking at the program for ask that we have outstanding for the Rideau Hotel. Just an update for council on what the program for is a tax abatement that qualifies for any property that's going to be increased in value by more than $350,000 on the MPAC assessment. The maximum amount allotted based on the program criteria is 80% of any commercial assessment and 100% of residential assessment. So as we work through with that, I'm sure we'll have more individual consultation before coming back with a report to council in the near future. The other one is going to get rolling this week to get the review underway that we've been talking about at council. So it's exciting to have those two projects moving forward. The Municipal Heritage Committee is scheduled to meet this Wednesday. We are welcoming two members with Ted Outerbridge and Katie Hoffman. So we're really excited to have our numbers growing. And the Police Services Board is scheduled to meet this Thursday. So the survey closed today. I don't know if it's still live or not, but if you haven't had a chance to fill it out yet, you might be able to squeeze in one last entry. But so that will be tallied and put together for the upcoming business plan, which we will see in the near future as well. So those are my updates for tonight.
Great, thank you. Councillor Dwyer? No reports. Councillor McKenna?
Thank you, Your Worship. I just wanted to, you may have noticed a press release from the provincial government regarding mobile assessment, COVID assessment sites. So what will happen in Lanark County is the Lanark County paramedics will, we expect 2 weeks, develop mobile testing, and they'll put up on site. They'll be driving around Lanark County doing pop-up testing sites so that those people who have issues with driving or getting out to the assessment sites. So this is testing only. And I'll remind those watching the difference between the assessment site and a testing site. The assessment site, they actually assess your health and well-being, and we'll go into quite a bit of detail as well as do the test. The testing is very quick. You just come in, name, address, and phone number, you get tested and you move on. So that pop-up, I don't want to call them pop-up, but they'll be mobile. And then Leeds Grenville, the same thing will happen. The paramedics will be traveling throughout Leeds Grenville. And I expect that's the funding from the provincial government. And that should start within maybe next week, maybe sooner, we'll see. So that's very important. And there was one other thing I wanted to mention, and it's gone. That's fine, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Allen?
Yes, Councillor McGuire told you about our new members of our Municipal Heritage Committee. The Railway Museum, I'm just, Lisa Purdenbell, our coordinator, sent this to me today. The Railway Museum of Eastern Ontario has remained very busy with overnights and tours from day trippers every weekend, fully booked for overnight stays in 2020, still continue to offer scheduled museum tours on weekends through into the fall. They've been working with a movie crew to help bring one of the holiday movies to life in the museum, which could be an exciting thing. Their new dining car has spiked a great deal of interest in the museum recently, and they're very appreciative and quickly building a plan to make this car a signature of Smiths Falls experience here. The Friends of the Library, we had our pop-up book sale on Saturday. It was short, 10 to noon, and made just about $700. I think people went home happy with a bag full of books, and it was nice to be able to do that. It was a nice day for that. The library, just a reminder, is open for public access using the regular scheduled hours from 1 to 8 on Monday to Thursday. Friday is 10 to 5, and Saturday 10 to 4:30. In-library programming will not resume at this time, but the virtual programming has run all summer and will continue to be doing that. I know that Larry and I and our family have enjoyed participating in the Russell Street Marketplace, and I just wanted to give a shout out to that wonderful event. Great music, entertainment, lots of outdoor restaurant patios and food vendors with great things to eat and drink. Thanks to the Chamber of Commerce and all of the people who are involved in making this a fun event. At the same time, I congratulate Hometown News and the Pickled Pig on their first year at Murphy Park. The Music in the Basin event that ran all summer with music entertainment and was held in what I consider one of our prettiest parks. Both these events were helped with the Towns on the Roll Fund, and I think they were very, very well received. Those are my reports. Thanks.
Great, thank you. Councillor Alford. No reports this evening. Councillor Brennan? You're good too? Okay. I've got a couple myself. September 9th, County Council, Community Services, Corporate Services met. A lot of discussion items. Certainly one that was of prominence and effect to us is funding formulas for long-term care as it relates to Lanark Lodge, and that was a big discussion point. Allotment of Safe Restart funding, Social Services Relief Fund Phase 2 investment plan was also done. Tender was approved for the resurfacing of a parking lot at Empress and Sussex, and confirmation from staff that they will be working with our residents to ensure that vehicles are moved during and places to park during this period of construction and redevelopment. Good update by Children's Services as it pivoted to assist and guide our daycares to reopen, both early in the pandemic and then later on in full scale. And then also report decision on upgrades to fire communication systems equipment that also has to speak, of course, to our dispatch. September 12th, I participated in what was quite an amended Parkinson Super Walk. Did a bit of a relay from Perth to Smiths Falls, and I met Bob Arnold in front of Town Hall and met and walked with Bob and his family down to Centennial Hill Park, where they had a small celebration, but it just shows the devotion and dedication of this group. They're extremely supportive of each other. Congratulations to Lou McCann, Pat Evans, and everyone involved. I think it was still raised, I believe, around $55,000 or $56,000, despite the challenges in fundraising. And as we heard from Sandra Borelli earlier, how important it is that these charities still find ways to raise funds to meet the core needs. September 14th, I had an opportunity to have a Zoom with David Klein, Canopy's CEO, chair of the board, etc. The first time I had an opportunity to connect. He's, of course, not able to come to Canada right now with the restrictions in place, but it was very encouraging to have those discussions with him and to understand a little bit more about his vision, both short-term and long-term, and also his excitement and support for the facility in Smiths Falls. September 17th, I did a In Focus on Lake 88. It was good to have the opportunity to, I guess, share with the broader community some of the developments in Smiths Falls, especially as it comes to the residential development we've experienced this year, as well as bring an update on Beckwith Street and renovations here at the municipal complex. And last Friday, the Mayor's Task Force for Economic Recovery met again with further discussions relating to the pandemic's impact on the local business community. Discussions including the possibility of extending the patio season, the risk factors of a second wave, a review of the recent business survey, and further discussions on the business support program and delegating authority for approvals on that. So a number of things and ongoing efforts from the task force to ensure that we continue to do what we can to support our business community. And that's it for my reports. We have a number of bylaws this evening. We're going to start with Councillor McKenna, please.
Thank you, Your Worship. Moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Alfred that a bylaw to amend bylaw 9940-2018, being a bylaw to authorize the execution of a site plan control agreement with 2373708 Ontario Inc., respecting 20 Beckwith Street North, Smith Falls, be read a first time and taken as read a second time.
Thank you. Moved by Councillor McKenna, second by Councillor Alford, that a bylaw to amend bylaw 9940-2018, being a bylaw to authorize the execution of a site plan control agreement with 2373708 Ontario Inc., respecting 20 Beckwith Street North, Smith Falls, be received, noted first time and taken as read a second time. All in favor? That's carried. Discussion, Councillor McKenna?
Just, we talked about this last week. Everyone knows 20 Beckwith Street is the beautiful Rideau Hotel. And this is referencing the portico that will hang over the replicated as the original and the facade at on the Beckwith Street level. So I would like to clarify, the last time we talked about this, I reflected on being a child and running up and down the steps. The portico was not there, the canopy over, so it must have been before the 60s that it was taken down. So it's going to look wonderful.
Yes, thank you for making sure you're not older than you really are.
That's right.
Okay, any other comments? Maybe a third reading, please.
Yes, that a bylaw to amend bylaw 9940-2018, being a bylaw to authorize the execution of a site plan control agreement with 2373708 Ontario Inc., respecting 20 Beckwith Street North, Smith Falls, be now read a third time, and finally passed, signed, sealed, and numbered 10177-2020.
Thank you. Moved by Councillor McKenna, second by Councillor Alford, that a bylaw to amend bylaw 9940-2018, being a bylaw to authorize the execution of a site plan control agreement with 2373708 Ontario Inc., respecting 20 Beckwith Street North, Smith Falls, be now read a third time and finally passed, signed, sealed, and numbered 10177-2020. All in favor? And that's carried. Our next bylaw is with Councillor Dwyer, please.
Thank you. Moved by myself and seconded by Councillor McGuire that a bylaw to authorize the execution of an encroachment agreement with 23723708 Ontario Inc., Parkview Homes, respecting an encroachment onto the Beckwith Street North and William Street West, Smith Falls, be read a first time and taken and read a second time.
Thank you. Moved by Councillor Dwyer, second by Councillor McGuire, that a bylaw to authorize execution of an encroachment agreement with 2373708 Ontario Inc., in brackets Parkview Homes, respecting an encroachment onto Beckwith Street North and William Street West, Smith Falls, be read a first time and taken as read a second time. All in favor? That's carried. Discussion, Councillor Dwyer?
Thank you, Mayor Pankow. This relates to item number 1 on our agenda, and it is an agreement registered on title to legally recognize the placement of the portico on municipal property. The agreement speaks to things like liability and extension of use. As this part of Beckwith Street is not used actively by the municipality, Council grants authorization to the owners to make use of the property for the encroachment by the portico.
Thank you. Any further comments? I may have the third reading, please.
Thank you. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor McGuire, that a bylaw to authorize the execution of an encroachment agreement with 23723708 Ontario Inc., being Parkview Homes, respecting an encroachment onto the Beckwith Street North and William Street road allowances, be now read a third time and finally passed, signed, sealed, and numbered 10178-2020.
Thank you. Moved by Councillor Dwyer, second by Councillor McGuire, that a bylaw to authorize execution of an encroachment agreement with 23723708 Ontario Inc., in brackets Parkview Homes, respecting an encroachment onto Beckwith Street North and William Street, be now read a third time and finally passed, signed, sealed, and numbered 10178-2020. All in favor? All hands up. That's great. Thank you. That's carried. And Councillor Allen, you're up next.
Thank you. Yes, moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Alford. That a bylaw to authorize the sale of certain vacant lands known as Part 4 of RP 27R9605 to Stanley Clinton Greer and Anne Marie Greer be read a first time and taken as read a second time.
Thank you. It's moved by Councillor Allen, second by Councillor Alford, that a bylaw to authorize the sale of certain vacant lands known as Part 4 of RP 27R-9605 to Stanley Clinton Greer and Anne Marie Greer be read a first time and taken as read a second time. All in favor? That's carried. Discussion, Councillor Allen?
Yes, this bylaw is to correct property transfer that happened in 2009 when the town was getting land for the VIA station. And there was a small parcel of land that people, I think, assumed went to this couple, but did not. So this is just to correct that. And another bylaw had to be created to make sure that happened.
Great, thank you. Any further discussion? May I have a third reading, please?
Moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Alford that a bylaw to authorize the sale of certain vacant lands known as Part 4 of RP 27R9605 to Stanley Clinton Greer and Anne Marie Greer be now read a third time and finally passed, signed, sealed, and numbered 10179-2020.
Great, thank you. Moved by Councillor Allen, second by Councillor Alford, the bylaw to authorize the sale of certain vacant lands known as Part 4 of RP 27R-9605 to Stanley Clinton Greer and Anne Marie Greer be now read a third time and finally passed, signed, sealed, and numbered 10179-2020. All in favor? That's carried. Councillor Brennan, you're up next.
Thank you. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Dwyer, that a bylaw to amend comprehensive zoning bylaw 6080-94 respecting the property municipally known as Lot 3, Concession 3 of South Elmsley, Parts 1, 14, and 15 of Plan 27R8847 be read a first time and taken as read a second time.
Thank you. Moved by Councillor Brennan, second by Councillor Dwyer, that a bylaw to amend comprehensive zoning bylaw 6080-94 respecting the property municipally known as Lot 3, Concession 3 of South Elmsley, in brackets Part 1, 14, and 15 of Plan 27R-8847 be read a first time and taken as read a second time. All in favor? That's carried. Discussion, Councillor Brennan?
Yeah, that's a lot of numbers and stuff, but in the short of it, we talked about this last week, and this is another development occurring on Van Horn, and it's going to enable the construction of a 24-unit rental apartment building. And so it's a change from residential type 5 to new residential type 6, special exemption zone. And I want to compliment my colleagues on the planning committee because there were some concerns locally, and we worked through them with the developer. I want to compliment them as well. And but this is another good news story. So thanks to everybody. We're going to keep building.
Great. Thank you. Any further comment? May I have a third reading, please?
Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Dwyer, that a bylaw, to amend comprehensive zoning bylaw 6080-94 respecting the property municipally known as Lot 3, Concession 3 of South Elmsley, Parts 1, 14, and 15 of Plan 27R8847 be now read a third time and finally passed, signed, and sealed and numbered 10180-2020.
Great, thank you. Moved by Councillor Brennan, second by Councillor Dwyer, that a bylaw to amend comprehensive zoning bylaw 6080-94 respecting the property municipally known as Lot 3, Concession 3 of South Elmsley, in brackets Parts 1, 14, and 15 of Plan 27R-8847 be now read a third time and finally passed, signed, sealed, and numbered 10180-2020. All in favor? That's carried. And our final bylaw is with Councillor Alford, please.
Thank you, Worship. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor McKenna, that a bylaw to rescind bylaw 10131-2020, being a bylaw to authorize an emergency exemption respecting penalties for late payments, be read a first time and taken as read a second time.
Thank Thank you. Moved by Councillor Alford, second by Councillor McKenna. The bylaw to rescind bylaw 10131-2020 being a bylaw to authorize an emergency exemption respecting penalties for late payments be read a first time and taken as read a second time. All in favor? It's carried. Discussion, Councillor Alford.
Yes, Your Worship. In March, Council, based on recommendation from staff, decided to waive the penalties for late payments on outstanding amounts owing, i.e. tax bills and utility bills, as one way that the town could assist our townspeople. As Treasurer Koziel has pointed out in the last few months, that we've not seen this used, which is good news, that our residents have been able to stay the course during the pandemic, as those penalties amount to about $25,000 a month. As this exemption is for the most part now only substantially benefiting those who were in arrears prior to COVID, Council has now decided to change that bylaw or resume the bylaw, the rules that were there in place prior to our emergency exemption.
Thank you. Any further discussion? We have a third reading, please.
That a bylaw, moved by myself, second by Councillor McKenna, that a bylaw to rescind bylaw 10131-2020 being a bylaw to authorize an emergency exemption respecting penalties for late payments be now read a third time and finally passed, signed, sealed, and numbered 10181-2020.
Thank you. Moved by Councillor Alford, second by Councillor McKenna, that a bylaw to rescind bylaw 10131-2020 being a bylaw to authorize an emergency exemption respecting penalties for late payments be now read a third time, finally passed, signed, sealed, and numbered 10181-2020. All in favor? That's carried. That's it for our bylaws. Our first miscellaneous motion is with Councillor McGuire, please.
Thank you, Your Worship. The first motion refers to the Rideau Hotel, and thankfully we only have to read it once. So that moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Dwyer that the Corporation of the Town of Smith Falls permit the alteration of the designated structure at 20 Beckwith Street North under Section 33 of the Ontario Heritage Act to allow for the reconstruction of the historic portico facing Beckwith Street. As per the site plan and elevations presented to the Committee of the Whole on September 14th, 2020, subject to the following conditions: that an amending agreement to the site plan control agreement enacted by bylaw number 9940-2018 be executed with the municipality, and that an encroachment agreement to administer the conditions of the encroachment over municipal property be executed with the municipality, and further that the owner of the property agrees to undertake all works in accordance with the standards and guidelines for the conservation of historic places in Canada, including that the preservation shall be the primary treatment followed by rehabilitation and restoration on an as-needed basis.
Thank you. Discussion, Councillor McGuire?
So this is required under the Ontario Heritage Act to authorize the modifications to the designated facade. It's in line with the site plan control agreement and the encroachment agreement that we approved through the two bylaws tonight.
Great. Thank you. Any further comment? It's moved by Councillor McGuire, second by Councillor Dwyer. Rideau Hotel. The Corporation of the Town of Smith Falls permit the alteration of the designated structure at 20 Beckwith Street North under Section 33 of the Ontario Heritage Act to allow for the reconstruction of the historic portico facing Beckwith Street as per the site plan and elevations presented to Committee of the Whole on September 14th, 2020, subject to the following conditions: that an amending agreement to the site plan control agreement enacted by bylaw number 9940-2018 be executed with the municipality, and that an encroachment agreement to administer the conditions of the encroachment over municipal property be executed with the municipality, and further, that the owner of a property agrees to undertake all works in accordance with the standards and guidelines for conservation of historic places in Canada, including the preservation shall be primary treatment followed by rehabilitation and restoration on an as-needed basis. All in favor? That's carried. Councillor Brennan, you're up.
Thank you. Moved by myself, second by Councillor Dwyer, that the Council of the Corporation of the Town of Smith Falls direct staff to implement the Town of Smith Falls Small Business Support Program using funds from the Small Business Advisory Center, CFAC Reserve, and further that the Council of the Corporation of the Town of Smith Falls delegate authority to the Manager of Economic Development and Tourism to approve application and execute a memorandum of understanding with Valley Heartland to administer the funds.
Thank you. Discussion, Councillor Brennan.
Well, this was discussed at our at the Mayor's Task Force meetings the past couple of times, and it was discussed at our CAL meeting. And this is a reserve that has been sitting there for some time, and we've been able to make available $50,000. And the two good things about this is, number one, it will benefit businesses throughout the town, in and out of the DBA, and also it'll be retroactive. So I know that a $1,500 grant is not a make or break for businesses, but we did a business survey, and there's still a lot of concerns with the viability going forward. And we're not getting the best of news these days. So, if you have a small business, with under 20 employees, many just have a few, $1,500 will go a long way to help out. So, and the application is simple, and the idea that staff will administer it will streamline it even more. So it's not the be all and end all, but it could be an important factor in business recovery. So I think it's good news.
Great, thank you. Any further comments? Moved by Councillor Brennan, second by Councillor Dwyer. The Council of the Corporation of the Town of Smith Falls directs staff to implement the Town of Smith Falls Small Business Support Program using funds from the Small Business Advisory Center in brackets SBAC Reserve, and further that Council of the Corporation of the Town of Smith Falls delegate authority to the Manager of Economic Development and Tourism to approve applications and execute a memorandum of understanding with Valley Heartland CFDC to administer the funds. All in favor? That's carried. That's it for our formal business. Any inquiries or announcements? Councillor Alford.
Just a couple of announcements, Your Worship. Firstly, the DBA's Digital Main Street project. We had a very successful one last year, and we had 16 successful applicants. So far this year, we have 7 in the hopper. One of them has been approved and 6 more are awaiting approval. So I encourage downtown business to call the DBA and get information with regard to the Digital Main Street. It can be for hardware if you need to upgrade your laptop per se, or in some other fashion make you or help you get a better online presence. And as I said, we've been very successful with this program, and hopefully this this new one that's just resumed will be as successful as the last one was. The only other thing, Your Worship, actually 2 things. I also want to remind downtown business, particularly restaurants, that the DBA is committed to paying the setup fee for those businesses who enroll with Valley Eats. So that offer has been taken up by some restaurants downtown, but certainly if it's helpful to them, the DBA is prepared to pay the setup fee for those restaurants. And we have a number of them participating, but again, with the cold weather coming and the case climbing, it may be someone wants to reconsider it again if they have not already availed themselves of this opportunity. And the last one is bingo. The DBA and the Chamber, along with the Town of Smith Falls, have these bingo cards that were available in the paper, or you can get them from either the Chamber or the DBA. The prizes are substantial. 250, 150 are the 1, 2, and 3 winners. It doesn't take much to do. Just take a picture of where you are, tick it off, and post it with the hashtag Experience Smith Falls on Facebook or on Instagram. So none of those prizes have been awarded, so they're still all available. So I encourage our townspeople to get out and have some experiences. It's not just about visiting shops and buying things. It's about some of the experiences that are available in Smith Falls as well. So thank you, Your Worship.
Welcome. And just to speak to Valley Eats, we've used it, and you know, on nights you don't want to go out, it's just nice to sit home and have a meal brought to your door. So a lot of benefit to it. Anything else for inquiries or announcements? Councillor McKenna.
Thank you, Your Worship. I want to clarify some remarks I made last week near the end of our discussion regarding the fire chief. I raised a point of order. My intention was, it was my opinion that we're getting into operational issues. I regret not raising it earlier in the discussion because by raising it near the end of the discussion, it appeared I was trying to cut off the chair, and that was not my intention. I think that all of us were getting down into operational issues, and we have a responsibility to raise it when we catch ourselves doing that. And I wish I had done it earlier in the discussion. So I just wanted to clarify that.
Thank you, Councillor McKenna.
Thank you.
Any other inquiries or announcements? Okay, who's got the trivia question tonight? I don't see any hand up. Councillor Brennan.
Well, who was supposed to have it? No one knows. Okay, I'll do a personal one because I had this in the hopper just in case.
Good.
What's my dog's name and what is he named after?
I think Councillor Dwyer had her hand up first.
Well, I know his name is Amos because it's super cute. And I think he's named after a blues guitarist, but I can't think of his last name.
Well,
Amos Otis.
no, Amos has two names.
Amos Otis.
Amos Lee.
Oh, I was going to say Lee. I thought
Anyway,
it was Lee.
that's not very good, but we should set it up for next week to make sure that
But who's Amos Lee?
you have to Google him. We've met him.
Me collectively?
No, Jack, my wife and I. I told him I named my
Okay.
dog after him. He was horrified.
At least you didn't get
Okay.
a tattoo.
So who's up next week?
I can do it. I'll do it.
Okay. Councillor Dwyer? Okay. Councillor Dwyer, do you have little people there who are seeking your attention tonight?
I did. Yeah, my little people walked in just at the end of
Okay.
the meeting. So sorry.
Okay. No problem. I thought they might come on camera for a moment, but
Well, do you want to see them? Obo, come here. Obo, come here. Come here.
Hey.
there he is.
QA? Yeah.
Hi.
Okay,
Well,
go back.
if we could, they let him do the motion for adjournment, but I think we have official protocols we have to follow, so we'll go to Councillor Alford for that.
Thank you, Worship. Let me see. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor McKenna, that this council adjourn its proceedings at 5:49 p.m. and stand so adjourned until the next duly called meeting of council.
Thank you. Move by Councillor Alford, second by Councillor McKenna. This council adjourns proceedings at 5:49 p.m. and stands so adjourned until the next duly called meeting of council. All in favor? Thank you, everyone.
Good night.
Have a good night. We are